With the festive season upon us, major roads are experiencing increased traffic volumes as travellers head to various destinations. As the death toll on the road nears at triple digits, it raises questions about the measures in place to manage holiday traffic and ensure road safety during this busy period. Road Traffic Management Corporation spokesperson Simon Zwane joins us for more. Simon, thanks so much for speaking to us. Now, with traffic volumes on the increase, I'd imagine the amount of work that you were doing on the nation's roads is incredible at this time.
Yes, indeed it is so, Hugo. The demand on the shoulders of our men and women in uniform is huge at this time of the year. But we are encouraged by certain signs that we are seeing from the traveling South Africans. If I might just point out a few.
Please.
That we are seeing an increasing number of motorists heeding the message to travel with early and when there's sufficient sunlight. For instance, you'll find that on the N3, leaving Gauteng, the peak travel is between 6 and 7. With the peak on the N1 to Limpopo being around 1 o'clock. And on the N4 to Mpumalanga, around 4. So people are indeed taking into heart the message to travel early when there's sufficient sunlight. But of course, then there are those who are not taking the message seriously, who are traveling very late at night. And early hours of this morning, around 12:30, was an accident in the Eastern Cape between Butterworth and East London. And it's not on the road that is part of the top 20, but looks like it's on an alternative route. But again, that highlights the danger of traveling at night. 5 people have died in that accident. And we want to make the call again for people to avoid midnight traveling, because that's when most of the major crashes happen. And people should rather plan to travel when there's sufficient light, when you will be able to identify any dangers on the road, and you're able to take measures to avoid getting involved in those avoidable crashes.
Simon, there's always an assumption that people have a choice about what time to travel, but one can imagine that with the busy nature of life, some people feel that they have no choice but to travel in the wee hours of the morning. What sort of advice would you give to those drivers that insist or have to travel or drive overnight to their various destinations?
No, the advice to them is really that it is dangerous to drive at that time of the night. Even if you would not be able to maybe get involved in road crashes, but you may experience an emergency, tire burst, or need assistance. At that time of the night, you will not be able to get any assistance because it's too late, and other people who will be on the road with you will be suspicious of you and would not stop to help you. So it's always advisable to travel when there's sufficient light, when other motorists can help you if you get into an emergency. To think that you do by traveling late at night, you're avoiding being detected or avoiding roadblocks doesn't assist anybody. Like in this case, these guys were not traveling on the regular roads, we're traveling on R409, and they got involved in a crash where 5 people lost their lives. Early hours of the morning, the very hour that we always caution people to avoid traveling in. Midnight, early hours of the morning. Very, very dangerous. Most of the crashes happen at that time.
Now I'm going to ask you to elaborate on the RTMC's reimagined festive season safety plan and its primary focus here. I think that's your that's what you're going with for this season, if I'm correct.
Yes, that's what we're going with. You know, in our reimagined safety plan, we've identified those 20 hazardous routes, which we've deployed officers on, and evidence so far suggests that they are stabilizing. But evidence also suggests that there are motorists who are avoiding those routes and using secondary or escape routes. Now, we've taken a decision, the minister and the MECs have taken a decision that even the secondary routes are going to be saturated with traffic officers. There will also be roadblocks on those, so that there will be no escape, even for people who are driving drunk and trying to avoid traffic officers on the roads. So they are also deploying there. But most importantly, that there must be deployment even within municipal areas, within the townships and villages and towns, because that's where most of the drunken driving happens. And that is where also most of the pedestrians are knocked down by vehicles. I mean, already about 45% of people are dying on the road so far. It's pedestrians. So we've taken that into consideration, and we're deploying where they are most at risk to try and save them.
Now, are there any new technologies or systems being employed to monitor and manage traffic more effectively during this high traffic period?
Yeah, we have some of the vehicles, traffic officer vehicles, fitted with number plate recognition technology that helps them to identify motorists with maybe outstanding fines, those who are driving in stolen vehicles and all of that. They're able to identify them and be able to pull them out. We're also using the EBET system to test for alcohol. So it's breath alcohol testing that is taking place, and the results are immediate, and we're able to take people to court immediately. And we're also using the mobile vehicle testing stations. These are the trailers that we put on the road, and we're able to put vehicles on those and test them for roadworthiness. That is why we're seeing a high number of discontinued vehicles. That's because they've failed on the mobile vehicle testing stations. So these are the kinds of technologies that we are able to deploy at this stage. And of course, we have the e-force. The e-force is the gadget that officers are using to write up tickets. So the mistakes that you generally have had in the past, or bad handwriting that prosecutors complain they can't read, all of those will be eliminated, because with that handheld device, once they scan your license and scan your vehicle discs, your details are immediately loaded down onto the system. All they have to now add is the offense that you committed, and then you verify your identity, then you sign on the screen, and the traffic fine comes out, and it is valid and will be recognized in court.
Certainly some interesting technology. Now, as we wrap up the conversation, the holiday season concludes very, very shortly. Now, what measures are in place to manage the expected surge in return traffic? So we've just talked about one half of the equation, which is people going out to their various holiday destinations. What is the advice and level of preparedness for those motorists when they're coming back?
The advice is plan your trips appropriately. Check the weather forecast. We know it's been raining quite heavily, particularly in the afternoons, but check the weather in the province of destination where you're going, what the predictions are for rainfall and stuff. When traveling into KZN, consider that it becomes extremely misty around Pietermaritzburg. So if you're going to be passing that area during the time when it's raining, visibility is going to be extremely poor. So consider all of those facts. I think the mist conditions exist also in other provinces such as the Eastern Cape and even Mpumalanga. So people should consider the weather conditions and plan for them. If if it's a storm, catches you while you are traveling, don't insist on driving on. Find a place where you can stop until the storm passes, and then you can also travel on. And avoid driving on over streaming waters on the road, because that might suggest sometimes that the bridge has been washed away. So be extremely careful when getting into those low-lying bridges. Test them before you can drive through. And testing whether the bridge is still there or not is not done by using a vehicle. You get out of the vehicle and find something else to use to test if your vehicle will be able to go through that.
Simon, wish you a blessed Christmas, and thanks so much for speaking to us. Road Traffic Management Corporation spokesperson Simon Zwane, giving us the hints and tips, the 101 to do in order to travel safely. And one of those things is that the South African Weather Service should be your best friend during this period. Continue to monitor the weather and plan in advance for all travel. All right, we're going